You're listening to The Middle Ground here on 88.3 WVCR The Saint. I am your host, Just Tony. I'm here with me are the usual characters.
Jack Kelly.
Johan Matthews. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing well, man. It's been a reasonable week.
Has been a reasonable week. Nice weather so far.
Oh.
We're recording a little early this week, so
early.
There's potentially a snowstorm.
What do you think, Tony? Tony.
It's been pretty good. I don't know why we're talking about the weather, though. We really ran out of topics to talk about.
Yeah.
Already.
We jumped right into it.
Let's just go straight to commercial.
So we actually came with some topics loaded for Bear this week.
Yeah, we actually put some effort in.
We did. We want to talk about the oncoming Fruitpocalypse.
Fruitpocalypse.
That's just good news.
It's a possible thing. So the theme of this episode will be food, if not fruit.
Okay.
But
I like food.
Yeah.
All right, so Jack, tell us about the Fruitpocalypse. What's going on?
The Fruitpocalypse, we'll jump right into it. So there is an epidemic. Not an epidemic. There's a disease that is threatening banana crops and orange crops. Don't turn the station just yet. I swear it's a little more interesting than that. There's a disease called tropical race 4, which is threatening the bananas that we eat. And it has the potential to wipe out 85% of the crop this year.
Wow.
For the bananas we eat.
So where does this banana come from?
70% of the world's banana population or exports come from Latin America. And scientists believe that this disease, tropical race 4, is already in Latin America.
Wow. Where did it come from?
I was reading up on it, and it seems like it's there's been 4 versions of this disease, and they've used it started in 1993, and they used different pesticide to kill it. But they've gotten to a point where this thing has evolved past the pesticides that we have. So there's too many pesticides, and just think about that. They use so many pesticides on the bananas that we eat. We have 2 bananas in studio here right now. That this disease has evolved past those pesticides, and that's the reason it's becoming so bad, because they can't kill it.
Wow, I think there's 4 bananas in here. And to pick off of that, 1993 is when St. Vincent essentially transitioned into tourism from banana as its main export. So that's ironic.
Really?
Yeah.
This really applies to us because we are pretty positive we are all big banana fans.
Big banana fans.
Yeah,
we legitimately have 4 bananas in the studio, not related to this show. We just brought bananas for snacks.
I eat a banana every morning for breakfast, and apparently that's pretty typical of Americans. Apparently we are huge banana consumers.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's how it is.
But at the same time, orange juice consumption has been going down. I think you were telling me about that before.
Yeah, so I was also reading, this is kind of what spawned my thought about the Fruitpocalypse here. Orange juice consumption has gone down by, I think, 40% over the past 15 years, which is pretty bad. I mean, that's almost half of the orange juice consumption per capita.
That's crazy.
And it's due to the fact that Americans are eating less breakfast. It's also due to the fact that orange juice is essentially soda with how much sugar it has.
So much sugar. Maybe natural sugar, but that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, I mean, it has almost as much as a can of Coke, which is a lot.
Well, people just drink too much. When I have a glass of orange juice, I have a little cup. Cup. It's like a double shot.
That's when if you go to a diner, one of the local area diners, there are many of them here, they're really great. Usually you order a glass of orange juice. They give you like this little tiny cup of orange juice.
That's insulting.
Kind of makes me upset because I want a lot of orange juice. But at the same time, you should probably be drinking that in moderation.
But they always say we drink too much coffee because Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, you can order a bucket of coffee if you really want to. But they coffee back in the day used to be like 6 ounces, and even a cup of coffee in a coffee maker is still 6 ounces. So we're supposed to not be drinking the Trenta or whatever Starbucks large one is, which is literally more liquid than the human stomach can hold at once. And that's not a joke.
Tall,
that's true.
Grande, Venti.
And then
not
there's
that actually it is very difficult.
There's the Trenta, which is the 30 ounce or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we eat too much. But yeah. So oranges, which I guess we've decided to stop eating, are also being affected by a disease, which I looked up and now can't remember the name of. It's called citrus greening. And I guess it just causes oranges to fall off the leaf too early. And because they fall off too early, they're not ripe. You can't use them. And it's killed something like 25% of the acres of orange growing farms out there in the past couple of years.
I like to talk about oranges for a second. I love oranges. They're delicious. They are way too complicated of a food. It takes way too long to get to the orange part. That's why bananas are the way to go. Easy to peel, easy to eat, take it on the go, not a problem. Oranges, you get sugar everywhere, you're sticky. It is delicious, but it's just way too complicated.
And it's
That's
funny,
the reason oranges aren't doing well.
I was in a meeting the other day, and like, one of those meetings where we're sitting in a horseshoe and everyone's just kind of chit-chatting, and someone had an orange, and she's just like on her lap, all scrunched up into a little ball trying to peel this orange. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to get that orange apart, and then your finger's going to be all sticky. Everything's going to smell like citrus. It's going to be a delicious meal for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, oranges need to get their stuff together.
We need to genetically engineer an easier to eat orange, which I think we did.
No.
It's that little baby one. I forget what it's called. You just rip it open and eat the inside.
That's crazy. But I need to teach you guys the methods of peeling an orange because
You're the master fruit eater.
I love fruit. I do love my fruit, but there are easy ways to consume an orange.
Johan Matthews eats every part of a fruit.
Every part of a fruit. You can eat the entire core of an apple.
Eats the apple from the bottom up.
From the bottom up. Why not?
It's an interesting thing. You only started doing that recently, though, right?
Yes. Yes, I did. I didn't always do it. I did not always consume all of my fruits and vegetables. No. But
So the Fruitpocalypse, though, the Foodpocalypse, I guess, got me thinking about frozen yogurt. Johan and I were in a meeting yesterday, and someone came in with some TCBY, and I think I'm like morally opposed to frozen yogurt. It's delicious, but I'm just not a big fan of the process of getting frozen yogurt because every single frozen yogurt place is the same. Like, it looks like a spaceship. It's like blinding white with like green or pink lights.
yeah.
Like inexplicable berries posted on a wall, which has nothing to do with yogurt because it comes from milk. And you walk in, there's like a 15-year-old girl, and she's like, "Hey, take a bucket or a tub or a bathtub and just fill it up with yogurt." So you walk to the back of the frozen yogurt place, you stick your hand in a hole in the wall because they're all like that. You don't really know what's happening. You press like orange sorbet, strawberry, I don't know, who's what's it. And then next thing you know, you have like 6 pounds of frozen yogurt. 'Cause I don't know how to weigh my food. Give me a small, medium, or large. I don't want 6 ounces or 6 pounds. And then you go over to the condiments or whatever, like jelly bears and granola, and you put another 4 pounds on there, and you're checking out with a 10-pound tub of yogurt, and it's $1 million. I don't like frozen yogurt. I'm not a big fan.
They're like you, Jack. Because you go in there, you spend $1 million.
Because I'm an idiot.
Well, I'm the opposite. They probably shouldn't like me. 'Cause
Why?
I go in and I only take the tiny samples, and I'll sample 6 or 7 times if I have to before I make up my mind.
Oh,
At
you're
which
one of
point I
those.
leave.
The sampler.
I am the sampler, so they should be morally opposed to me. Watch out for Johan Matthews.
I always feel bad taking free samples when I'm places like the mall. They always give you the Chinese food. And more I end up buying it. So it's good marketing on their part. But I always feel bad taking free samples. And like there's always the tea guy in the mall. It's like, "Hey, come try some of my tea."
Yeah, absolutely. I used to feel the same way. I was like, I'm not really going to buy any of this, but I do kind of want it. So I used to feel bad, but then all of a sudden that just stopped. So no, I'll just take the free samples and still not buy it unless I actually want to buy it.
I just feel bad. I think I'm too nice.
You shouldn't.
You'll get over it.
We got into a deadly relationship in Buffalo when I went to school at UB. And every day every Friday, we would go to the mall, and this Chinese guy would approach us with samples, and he eventually got to know us. He learned our names. I was like, this guy is a genius marketer. He knows everything about us, so we have to go there. It became to the point where we couldn't go to the other Chinese place. We felt as if we were obligated to this one place where we would dodge, hide, move with crowds. So you get into these types of relationships, Jack, and you don't want that.
I don't want to be best friends with the tea guy. But I will say, around Christmas, I walked by the Lindt truffle store or whatever, like those really expensive chocolates, and this little kid, he's probably 12. I don't know how he's working for Lindt truffles anyway. Gives me one, and I was like, "You're the nicest person ever." And now every time I walk by, I'm like, "Where's the Lindt truffle boy? I'd like to get a free Lindt truffle." But it didn't work. I haven't bought anything from there. I just walk by and go, "Those were delicious," and then don't go in. So I guess good job out of them for making me think about it.
Yes. So.
A couple other fun facts that we have, though. Since we were talking about food, bananas produced in Latin America, like coffee and all that stuff, we could bring it back to America. America produces about 70% of the world's corn,
Wow.
10% of the world's wheat. I thought those were some interesting figures, and that we could talk about them to fill some space.
Well, we definitely do use a lot of corn. I mean, there's corn in everything. Candy has corn in it.
Not only do we produce 70% of the world's corn, but we don't even eat all of it. We're going to burn this into fuel.
Yeah, well, we do that E85 or whatever, the ethanol. You can run a car on corn.
Yeah. And then, of course, our actual gasoline usually has around 10% ethanol in
that.
it, which is environmentally friendly in some ways, but at the same time, you're also burning corn.
That's true.
People could eat that corn.
That's true.
So
You know, we went out to eat last night to Chili's, which is like
a fine
dining
establishment.
the Walmart of premium food places, and the options for vegetables are broccoli or corn.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Which corn? Not even a healthy vegetable if you
Not
can
at all.
consider it a vegetable.
There's no health value to corn
Yeah,
at all.
it's just starch. It's like a potato.
Yeah. Eating corn is a waste of energy. Really. And I like corn, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of, I guess that. We got an email last week from a guy when we mentioned the flyover states that you shouldn't stop there. And he was like, I forgot to tell you this. He's like, oh, I liked your show, but I'm in a flyover state, so I'm kind of opposed. And I was like, what flyover state are you in? He's like, oh, I'm in Ohio. And I was like, Ohio's not a flyover state.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like, I mean, I don't think so.
It's really important once every 4 years,
Yeah.
legitimately,
Wait, for what?
for elections.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, that is important for that.
It's very important.
I think once you get past, like, Kansas, those are flyover states.
I think once you get past Ohio, I'm pretty sure
Fair
the latter half of the west half of Ohio, that's flyover state.
I couldn't name anywhere on that side, I don't think.
I don't know. Brandon's told me a couple of places.
Oh, Bren's from Ohio. That's right.
Yeah.
One of our coworkers is from Ohio.
Hmm.
But he doesn't talk about it very much.
No.
There's not much to talk about.
No,
That's true.
Flyover state.
That's a good point. Maybe it is a flyover state. Maybe I was just
Uh,
wrong. Anyway. So we also do a lot of wheat, which
Yeah.
we were looking up some stuff about wheat last night just to try and kind of firm up these facts a little bit, and found out that celiac disease, that gluten intolerance, a lot more prevalent in India than it is in America. But it seems
Really?
like it's a lot more. It seems like everyone has it in America.
That's
Yeah.
what it's in. Well, I see. I know.
It's well,
It's wealthy white person disease.
It-
That's how they diagnose it. You go to the doctors, like, do your parents or you make over $150,000 a year? I'm pretty sure you have a gluten
I
allergy.
don't think you can eat gluten anymore. It does seem like that, though.
Yeah.
It seems like all of a sudden everyone's like, you know what? I ate a piece of bread and I don't feel good anymore. Don't think I can eat gluten anymore. But that is not to say some people really do have celiac disease. So, send your letters to WVCR the Saint 88.3 if you're unhappy.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. But when we get back, we're going to talk about an email that we received from Jessica R., who wanted us to talk about the FDA proposed changing of the nutrition facts. So it's going to be an interesting segment, too, if you stick around. And we're back here at the middle ground on 88.3 WVCR The Saint. And we were just talking before the break about Jessica R., who emailed us in and asked us about the FDA regulations, the new nutrition facts that are being proposed. And she just wanted to get our expert opinion on the subject. Really values our opinions so much that she wouldn't give us her last name.
I have eaten food before, so
Yes.
I'm pretty qualified to talk on this.
Similarly, Jack.
So Anthony, when we mentioned the Fruitpocalypse as a talking topic here, you had been doing a little research on this FDA stuff. So give us the harsh facts. What am I going to read in the back of my Doritos now?
All right. The FDA's proposed changes basically larger type for calories. So now the calories number will be a nice big 300 or whatever it may be.
That's the part I don't want to know.
The daily value will be on the left side instead of the right side.
That's just confusing.
Big changes. The main difference is the serving sizes aren't allowed to be as deceptive as they have been in the past. So, like, it would say daily value of your cholesterol 10% per serving, and then it's like, but this bag of chips has 15 servings. So that was kind of deceptive.
You mean they're going to change my vacuum bag size of Doritos to one serving?
Yes, that pretty much. One or two. They're cutting back on the discretion that manufacturers have on creating serving sizes.
It's going to look a lot less healthy.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Thanks a lot, Michelle.
They're also going to create a sugar added underneath the sugar. So you'll have your natural sugar and then your sugar added, so you can see how much was.
But they never add sugar to food.
No, absolutely not. That's completely pointless.
So it's all going to be zeros all the time.
Yes. 2 more things. Calories from fat will be eliminated, which is completely useless and should be eliminated.
Just so really quickly, what are calories from fat? And I mean that legitimately. I have no idea. I never read that
It
part.
literally means calories that come from fat. So
who
the calorie
cares?
number at the top, say it's 300, it'll say 200 of those come from fat. The rest will come from carbs and proteins and other stuff like that. It's completely useless, and I don't know why they even have it now. So I'm totally just get rid of it. Absolutely, You're taking up space. And finally, they're going to eliminate vitamin A and vitamin C. No need for those anymore to be on the back of your your nutrition facts.
That's a little weird.
It is a little odd. The idea is that it's not vitamin A and C have little or nothing to do with chronic illness. So there's no need for them anymore. They got to make room for that big type.
But then they also said they're going to add vitamin D too, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
But like that's the sun. So like,
yes.
why don't they just say, oh, these chips have some sun in them?
Well, they could also have like artificial vitamin D in there too.
Oh, I guess that
kind of
makes
like
sense.
milk and orange juice. Yeah. Coming full circle around
yeah,
now.
look at that.
Orange juice has like calcium and vitamin D added because you need vitamin D to soak up that calcium.
So what happens to like 50 cents vitamin water that is like the vitamin C 1,000 milligrams? Can they just not make that anymore? They're just like, this is an orange drink that has something in
That's
it.
100% correct. No, you can. These are just the requirements. If you really want to, you can add stuff onto it. Like this is the minimum requirement.
Now vitamin C is extra credit all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. Well, so you have been abroad more than us, and they do nutrition facts a little differently abroad, right?
Yeah, they do. It's significantly different. It's still a box, which is good.
No.
But obviously abroad, it's run by different organizations than the federal government. So, like over in Europe, the European Union is pretty much the ones that set the calorie intake. So, like the daily value is set on like a 2,000 calorie diet instead of like a 2,500 calorie diet or whatever it is here.
Ours is 2,500 calorie.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that.
Well, we do tend to eat a lot more corn, which kind of
Yeah.
ups our daily value of eating anything.
Yeah. But their nutrition facts have different stuff on it. Like they're required to have like more vitamins, or like vitamin K and whatnot in there.
K.
Yeah, who puts vitamin K in their stuff?
I mean, what does vitamin K
so it's just
do?
different categories. And they for whatever reason they use different words because they're all metric.
Oh, that's right.
Which is weird because grams still. Yeah, I don't know.
The one time I've been abroad, I was looking at some nutrition facts and was completely confused by what was in them.
Yeah, it took me a little while to understand it, and I actually never really fully understand it. I just gave up.
What about St. Vincent?
When I was there, I don't think anyone reads that stuff, man. People just don't get fat, man.
They just don't get fat.
It just has a big bold advice on the back.
That's all it
Nutrition
says.
facts. Don't get
too
fat.
much of this.
That's it.
I mean, that's discretion really is the key to, I guess, staying
Everything in
healthy.
moderation. You want to be healthy. Everything in moderation.
You know, it's funny. In moderation, I was reading about that Subway bread thing where the Subway bread recently had the same chemical as yoga mats in it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know, someone exposed it, some blogger exposed it, made a big deal about it, and now
Tastes the same too.
Subway's like with it. Now Subway's taking it out, so there's not going to be any more yoga mat in the bread, so it's
No
not going
more?
to be. No, yeah, so
I
not
was
half.
enjoying that.
Exactly, I know,
Okay.
but you can't.
Still plenty of gluten.
There's a lot of gluten, but the thing I was reading was saying that it's like the amount of this chemical you can eat is like 40 parts per million, which is not very much. But that's what was in this Subway bread, not very much of this chemical. So they were saying you could eat anything in moderation and be okay. It's just a matter of how much you actually eat.
I think so. I can eat this microphone.
Maybe not.
There's a lot of fiber in this microphone.
Yeah. Maybe not anything though. Like lead paint chips. Probably should cut back on those.
Yeah, lead paint chips aren't very healthy.
Yeah.
Not
You
even
said anything
in
in
moderation.
moderation.
I don't think even in moderation.
Wow.
Yeah, lead's just something you should stay away from.
I'm pretty sure if you lick lead, you have to go to the hospital.
Wow.
I think so. I mean, I know you have to take courses on it if you want to mediate a house, if you want to like clean up a house. But anyway.
But Michelle's pushing this through, huh?
Yeah, so this is Michelle. The FDA rule is Michelle. Michelle Obama is Michelle we keep talking about. And Johan actually just showed me during the break a little video of President Obama and Vice President Biden running around the White House
Yeah.
looking very old to support this initiative that Michelle has. And that got us thinking about first ladies and kind of how their role is an interesting one. It seems like it's obvious that first ladies have a role, but they seem to choose a subject and then just ram it home for the next 4 or 8 years.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Laura Bush's was.
Yeah, I don't know if she had any like pet projects like Michelle or Hillary did.
Maybe she did and just wasn't as publicized because we weren't in the social media age back then.
I know the first lady gets a small, like, discretion, like, budget to do stuff with.
Yep.
Because, I mean, how boring would it be to be first lady? I mean, your man's always busy, doing presidential things, or your woman in the future.
You think? Do you
It'd be
think?
very...
So do you? We think Hillary's going to run. Everyone seems to think that Hillary's going to run in the
Seems
future.
like it.
Probably.
Could Bill Clinton be the first
Gentleman.
first
First man.
gentleman? Yeah, the
first gentleman.
man or whatever.
Oh
Absolutely.
man,
That would be interesting. I
That
mean, I
is
feel like he'd do
interesting.
that. He's pretty checked out. It
I
seems
think
like.
so. I think you just have a good old time.
He'd just smile and shake hands. I think
Uh,
that would be a power family there. Just
I don't think we'd lose
That'd be
oranges
awesome.
if he gets in there. I think he'd make it
maybe that
personal
would be
vendetta.
his thing. Clinton versus oranges. Save them all. I mean, well, he kind of has his own thing now anyway, with like heart disease and the Clinton Foundation. They're trying to cure everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so this is totally different. I've been to the Clinton Library before, which the idea of a presidential library is always interesting to me because, like, I guess a journalist might go to a library to look at the documents, but like, it wasn't that accessible. There were just a ton of books and papers behind glass, so that's cool. It's very cool they exist. But they were talking about Barack Obama's library being digital, which
Wow.
seems weird to me. Like, sure, it makes sense because he's the social media president or whatever, and he's good with online stuff. But like, I would want a building if I was him. Give me my library in Chicago.
Wow.
So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? A digital presidential library. We have that. It's called the internet.
Yeah.
I can look up everything he's done on the internet.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about
Like, I don't want BarryObame.com library. I don't want that. I always think of his name like that for some reason.
Barry
Obama.
Obame.
Barry Obame. I saw someone misspell it once, and I always think of it like that.
it.
Only once?
Yeah, only once, and just stuck
I've seen
with
it
me.
misspelled a million times. And it's not that difficult.
You know, it was funny. Someone was just like, "Oh, Obama," the other day, and I was like, "Could you just be like, oh, Bush,' and expect us all to know who you were talking about when Bush was in power?" I guess you could.
It's like
Yeah,
Bush.
absolutely.
Bush, yeah, that's true. But Obama is. It seems like more of a first name sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Usually, with W.
W.
Was how you called
W was
George
the
W.
Old
Bush.
GW.
W. What's W doing today?
That's true. Well, hope we answered Jessica R's question. We're changing FDA rules. a
Now
little bit.
you have the expert opinion of us.
But
That's
to
true.
go back to that, I mean, what made these things get to this point? Was it all marketing campaigns? Was putting it on the right really distracting for people? Is putting it on the left gonna help?
I think it's a matter of the fact that, like, you buy a can of Coke until recently, and it would say, like, oh, there's only 100 calories in this Coke. And then you'd look at, like, the serving size and it'd be, oh, there's 10 serving sizes in this 12-ounce can.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're actually drinking a Coke that has 1,200 calories. So I think they're just trying to, that's obviously a little bit of hyperbole, but I think they're trying to curb that of places just saying, like, oh, no, eat these gummy worms. They're completely healthy if you eat one.
Yeah. Which I completely agree with. That's a good idea to change the serving size deception that's in play right now, as well as, make the calories a little bigger type. That's perfectly fine. Eliminating A and K, gone too far.
A and
A little
C.
bit.
Whatever.
We don't even get K.
Yeah, we don't even get K. Add K.
I don't even know what vitamin A does. You know, we were in a vitamin store the other day with one of our roommates a guy was buying some vitamins. There are so many vitamins. It's
There are a lot of
ridiculous.
vitamins.
Like, just give me my chewable gummy and let me leave. So confused. I just want my daily dosage. I don't want to take fish oil. I don't want to take rabbit oil. Like, I don't want to rub a rabbit's leg when I'm doing my vitamins. I just want to take one thing and know
Just
I'm
want my
getting healthy.
multivitamin.
But I think that's brilliant, by the way. The gummy vitamins, fantastic.
Oh my god, me too.
Delicious.
I would overdose on vitamins. I think at this point.
I thought, like, I've worried before, like, these are so good, I'm going to eat too many of them. But anyway, there's that. You have chewable calcium now,
yeah.
which I used to eat. Those are good too.
I think those are
Seems
just called Tums.
counterintuitive.
Tums. It does seem kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Calcium's supposed to make your bones hard.
I think I want my
Uh,
calcium hard. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with
Hard
that.
calcium.
Anyway,
Uh,
so that's that. We've debunked the myth of FDA rules and nutrition facts and everything.
Yeah, talked about it for Jessica R. You're welcome.
Next time you buy some Doritos, look at the back and think, hey, the middle ground taught me what I'm looking at now.
Yeah.
And when it says 400 calories, put it back. You probably don't need that. Unless you do. Hey, free world. You do whatever you want.
Who knows?
Anyway, you've been listening to The Middle Ground, WVCR 88.3 The Saint. Join us next week. We'll be treading the middle ground, trying to get somewhere.
Hopefully.
Who knows?